does now. You see it now?
Mm-hmm.
Live?
It's live, I'm sharing.
Okay. I'm just gonna give it a few minutes. I see it. Give people a chance to come on. You see that screen now? Which screen you see now?
I just see us.
Okay.
And okay, now I see the logo. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay. You don't see my notes though, do you? You just
No.
Okay. So what's up?
Hey, how are you, Mr. Beavers?
I'm good. Good. You see, I had to rock my Tuskegee shirt, right? Wait, hold on a second. Let me show you that Tuskegee alumni shirt. I had to rock that.
You know, it was School Spirit today. I was just
I had to rock that. You should have worn your Western alumni T-shirt.
I was trying to get in the theme of my book, so I wore my book cover colors, green and white. So
Okay. I'm gonna still wait a little while, a few more minutes.
okay.
For those who are on right now, we're gonna give a few more minutes. Thank you for joining Ed Talk. Trying to. I see there were a lot of people that joined on the that actually viewed your ad.
Oh yeah, I was spreading it throughout a couple of Facebook groups I belong to.
Oh,
so
okay.
Trying to get the word out.
Okay. You can't see me anymore, do you?
At the bottom of our screen, yes.
Okay. You must be out there barbecuing today.
I do.
Y'all didn't barbecue?
Yeah, we barbecuing. I just gotta do this first. Gotta handle the business then.
Okay.
I'm sure my parents got something going.
Okay. Okay, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and get started a little bit. Everybody, welcome to Air Talk. We got a good day today. We have a new author. She has a new book out. Name is Lisa Lyons, friend of mine. The name of the book is The Real Deal: A Family's Guide to College. Just to introduce Lisa, Lisa holds a Bachelor of Arts in English and a Master's of Science in College Student Personnel, both from Western Illinois University. She currently works at San Xavier University. She teaches a transition course, coordinates the rebound retention program, is the campus co-chair for the Illinois Equity in Attainment Initiative, and helped to create the Emerging Scholars Program, a mentoring program for African American students. outside of St. Xavier, Lisa is involved with the church, the civic organization, and her sorority. I'm gonna say if I say it right, Alpha Kappa Alpha, sorority incorporated. Lisa
All right.
is also a licensed sports official in the area of cheerleading, dance, cross country, and track and field. Thank you for joining me today, Lisa.
Thanks for having me, Ed, and thanks to everybody for tuning in. I know this is Memorial Weekend, so I appreciate that you all took time out your schedule to check us out.
So I don't want to jump right into the book right away. I saw something on your bio that I thought was a big deal, and that's the coordination of that rebound retention program. And that was something that you kind of put together over there. So I wanted you to talk about that first, if you wouldn't mind.
So I thought you was gonna talk about emerging scholars.
I want to talk about that first.
Okay, so rebound, how that works, how it got started was many years ago while I was working at St. Xavier. Our freshman class had, it was like 28% had ended up on academic probation, which is pretty high. So we were charged to put together academic recovery workshop in which we named Rebound. Myself, along with a few of my colleagues, we were picked to teach a 10-week course in which we were trying to help students get off of academic probation and, maybe pick up the things they missed in their first semester of college, because this program is for students who are on academic probation after their first semester of college. So our goal was to come in and try to help, pick up the things that were lost and find out what key factors and or attitudes or behaviors we needed to, address in order for them to turn around. As the program progressed, we realized, and this was the students' suggestion, they wanted to have study hall. It was like, oh, I'm thinking high school, but it was like, in addition to having the once a week course, we would have liked to have a study hall. So we added an additional day to the week in which they come to study hall. They have a peer leader, which also serves as our teacher assistant. And they will come in there and they have time to read or do homework or, fix their notes or just some sketch out time to, have quiet time to do work. So the programs has really been successful. We haven't had high numbers since. I believe our retention rate numbers are tremendously low since that the start of that program. So we try to get faculty and staff involved. We've got partnership with faculty to let them know, hey, this is what we're doing. So we collaborate with faculty to let the students know, we're here to help you. And the faculty, they're really good in telling us if people are not going to class, if they're not up to par, or if they sense something wrong. So I believe we really strengthened this program. Our retention numbers are pretty good. So I'm really proud of being a part of the curriculum and helping with the retention of students at the university.
So do you think then, well, I'm gonna slowly go into the book. Do you think this book, if some of those students that had this book in the beginning, their parents, you think they would have made better decisions, or what do you think about that?
I think how would I describe? I know a lot of high schools have like college coordinators and college counselors, but I think what it is, they don't have somebody that's on the other side of the house. And I think that's what makes this book is special, because I work with the freshman college students, so I know the issues that they deal with. So this book is to get you prepped to college. That's really what it is. It really don't get you through that, because it's a cutoff point with this book. That's going to lead into the second book eventually. But this is to get you through to college. My next book is going to get you to college. My next book is going to get you through college. So.
And what about that Emerging Scholars Program? Tell me about that.
That's my baby. That's my baby. I'm really proud of that program. Myself, along with other faculty and staff members at St. Xavier University, we gave birth to that program. It will be a year in July. We were charged to come up with retention effort, a program to address African American students. St. Xavier University is a Hispanic serving institution, so within the past, I would say maybe within the past 5 years, our numbers of Latinx students coming to college has really increased. So we still wanted to let African American students know we still, care, because I know some students were feeling like there was more of a push to have initiatives for Latinx students and not African American students. But this program was to ensure that we have not forgot about you. I'm very proud of this program. It was very grassroots, not necessarily a huge budget to work with, and just a learning curve. We gathered when we was in session. We would gather once a month, not once a month, once a week on Mondays, and we talk about different topics like identity issues, how to balance school and be at home. We brought in someone who did breast cancer, doing breast cancer awareness month, talked about breast care and how to be an advocate if you like, if you're a male, she taught you how to be an advocate for your mother, your sister. We talked about a variety of different topics, graduate schools, secure internships, leadership on campus. We were cut short due to the pandemic. We had much more. We supposed to have invited you in along with some other people doing financial literacy month in April, but we were cut short. But we definitely would love to have you in the near future come, as well as other people that we had scheduled to come this past term. So I'm very proud of it. We had about 66 participants. Of those 66% participants, I would say we have 90% of those participants that are in good academic standing. So we retain a good chunk of that student population. A lot of them are leaders on campus. We just had a virtual award ceremony. A lot of them walked away with a numerous amount of awards. A lot of them were honored at the African American Achievement Awards back in February. And they all, it's a joy. It's just a joy to be involved with them. They look forward to us. It's like a family. It's almost like, I feel not like a mom, but maybe a auntie per se. So it's like a family. Myself and my colleagues, I thought it's important to have males. So we had to, have our male colleagues come in. So yeah, I'm really proud of it. They're doing well.
Okay.
I'm still in the process of checking grades for this term, but from what I've seen thus far, we're doing some amazing things. We had an induction like ceremony back in January, and everybody that came, it was just really impressed, and the students were amazed. We were set to have a jacket ceremony. We were supposed to have it back in April, but due to the pandemic, we were unable to have it. We do hope to have it this upcoming fall. We'll resume. Granted, we be back on campus, but yeah, it's just been a joy to hear students like, this is really helping me navigate college. Just kept me here. I look forward to seeing you all on Mondays. And although we have not been meeting, we do have a group meet, and just seeing students keep in touch through our group meet chats. And yeah, it's great.
Okay.
We graduated
Okay.
7 scholars. We graduated
Okay.
7 scholars a few weeks ago. So yeah, that's the goal. We just want to continue growing the program.
So going back into the COVID, I want to talk about that because you have how so students have to do their work online. I want to talk about that. And what since you're an advisor, what are the responses you're getting from students who are not, they're like, I'm not a good online student. I need to be in the classroom. That wouldn't work well for me. So what are some of the challenges that your students are having with having to do online classes opposed to being in the classroom?
There's a lot of factors that have affected students' productivity in their academics. One thing, home environment. Some students come from different home backgrounds. They may be trying to take class and have younger siblings who also have to go online and do e-learning. Some students say they face connection issues, not having the right Wi-Fi, or not even having access to everybody at home being able to have their own laptop or tablet. So happen to have to share. Some families have to share technology, and they have to map out the times. I did tend to find a lot of students tending to do work more in the wee hours of the morning, in which I saw that a lot of students were sending emails at midnight and 1 and 3, 4 in the morning, because that may have been a time where the rest of the siblings were asleep. Or you also got to think they may have parents that's working at home from as well. So that's a different dynamic, because how do you split up the technology resources, or everybody can't be online at the same time because of data issues. So that was an issue. Another issue, students just like that on-campus touch, like being able to go and see people and connect with people. That was a struggle for a lot of people because they missed those interactions, which, working from home, even for me, I find that challenging. I'm like, it was so easy just to walk down the hall or go to this office or go to that department to get this accomplished or get that question answered. Not saying we can't do it now, because phone and email does allow us to do it, but it's a different breed. And then concentration wise, some people, they lose track of concentration doing things online or independent. I never was a person of independent studies. I think I took one independent online class. I said, well, I don't like this. So some people like that in-person touch because it helps them be more disciplined versus, you're on a Zoom, you can get distracted of things going on in your household or those type of things. So there's quite a bit of challenges, and a lot of students, and not just the students I work with, I mean, just listening to parents of students that go to school elsewhere, they found it a challenge as well to do things remote, because people are so used to that, person to person touch and insight.
Okay, so I want to jump into this book. Okay. The Real is what you sent me. The Real is a family's blueprint to college access and college admissions. The goal is to better prepare families to provide the best support before, during, and after the admissions process. So I'm gonna tell you about my admissions process. Okay. I always say I didn't choose Tuskegee. I have my alumni shirt on. We're talking about college, so I gotta show mine off. So my thing was that Tuskegee didn't. I didn't choose them; they chose me. And the admission process at a HBCU was quite different than you probably experienced at Western. You probably didn't have long lines to wait to get to admission. We had to get there at 6 in the morning. I know you guys have an easier process. So a lot of challenges come when people are choosing their classes, all those type of things. Is that what this book kind of helps people do as far as navigate through the admissions process? How does
Yeah, but when you talk about admissions process, that's the acceptance part. When you talk about registration, that's the registering for classes. And I do have a chapter that is called "Don't Book the Family Vacation Before You Book the Orientation." My advice to all parents and students, I always say, go to the first or at least the second orientation. And a lot of families tend not to go to those because sometimes those are still being held while school are in session. But the reality is sometimes those are the better pick of classes. When you start going to orientations in like mid to late July, early August, some of those key classes may be either gone or they're at the times that you might not find to be the greatest times. Because what people have to realize, the current students have been registering there since probably as early March. So when you're talking about registering in July or August, you can just imagine how it can be the pick of the litter at that time. So I do encourage families to try to go early. I went to orientation at while I was still in high school. It was May. I remember it was May, and I talk about that in the book. It was May. I haven't even went to luncheon. I haven't had my final chorus choir spring concert. We didn't have prom yet, but here I am. I was at freshman orientation already, and I tend to have got a good schedule. And I talked to my other friends once I got there who went later. My schedule, we had some of the similar classes, but I had better times than they did because they went in late July or early August. So I do try to push people, and it doesn't matter what school you go to. If you can do it early, try to do it early. I know people are caught up with prom and graduation, but if you can just knock that out, and that way you could be better prepared for once school starts. You can't. I suggest going early.
Okay, so go early for registration, or go online early, or try to get to the school. But what if you're not in state? You know what I mean? So are you saying to register early online, or orientations online, because a lot of students are not in the same state that they're going to be. So it's kind of hard to get a student. So say a person is going to Stanford, right? And they're I actually live here in Chicago. So what would you suggest to them as far as will they most times have online registration? Is that how it, or
well, let's take the pandemic out of it, because we know a lot of for most schools this summer it's going to be virtual for most schools as they wait to see if they can open their campus. But let's take the pandemic out. For that situation, if it was a flight to California, maybe they're not going early, but even then, I would say at least still try to go. That's just me. I don't recommend July orientations. That's just me. I'm not saying nothing wrong with them, but I'm just saying, if you know you're in a key program, if it's like a key medical program or a nursing program, you want to get the best classes possible. The worst thing you can do is set a student up with a schedule they do not like, because that's going to affect how they perform. If they got all late classes, they're not going to want to be, they're not going to want to be in a bunch of late classes. They want to have a mixture of maybe morning and some afternoons. So that's what, I would try that. That's what I would suggest. But if it's a situation where they cannot get there until it's time to come, then they may want to reach out to an academic advisor or a mission counselor to see maybe they can do a Skype or a Zoom or a phone appointment to see if they could register earlier and just come later to do the rest of the in-person stuff. So that can be an option. Okay. For those who are totally out of state. But I see plenty. We have had students where I worked, people come from Hawaii to come. Somebody came from Hawaii to come for orientation. Went to the first orientation in June. So they came. So it's all, that's why I talk about in that book. If you plan in advance, you know your kids going to college. If you plan, you can go and fly and do that, but you have to plan.
So, got a question. Who is Lisa Lyons? Tell me who Lisa Lyons is. Just tell me a little bit about yourself. I read the bio, and the audience out there, please feel free to ask her questions in the chat, and I'll get those questions over to her. But can you tell me something about yourself? So, and I'm gonna make it a two-part question. Tell me about yourself, and because sometimes things that happen in your life kind of make you want to write different projects. So, was it something about yourself that inspired you to write this project?
Okay. So, do you want me to answer what inspired me to write the project, or
both?
Tell about yourself?
Tell me about yourself first.
So, of course, like Michelle Obama, I'm a little girl from the South Side, Chicago, born and raised, product of the Chicago public school system. Come from two parents with vocational trade backgrounds, but they afforded my brother and I, a great life. I say we had a good childhood. When you look at other people, you're like, yeah, we were blessed. We, were never without. Always been a person who liked to be involved and help people and serve, because I truly believe service is the rent for you that you pay on this time on earth. So I always wanted to be a person that give back. I mean, that's my passion, to give back and help motivate people, and actually just been inspired by a quote, and I hope I say it right, but this quote Michelle Obama said, when you reach a certain point in success, you don't close the door, you go back and you reach and you pull people with you. So that's just something she said that always stuck with me, pull people along, if you have the knowledge or the wealth or to help others, help people. So that's how, funny, like to laugh, like to enjoy. I realize even in this pandemic, I am a people person. So, I miss the people. I really miss being amongst the people. And, so I really realized through this pandemic, I am a people person. I won't say I'm a super duper extrovert, but I do like to be amongst the people. I do.
So what inspired you to write this project?
Okay, two things inspired me to write the project. So back in November of 2017, I was one of 39 women. Myself and 39 other women was inducted to the 40 under 40 Young Professionals Women League. And what I always liked about their organization, although I'm in my sorority, I'm involved with my church and other groups, what stood out to me about that particular organization is they poured into you, and they put your self-care and your growth and your development as a leader, as a businesswoman. So I remember someone was just saying, like, what is your brand? What is your niche? And I'm like, I don't even know what my brand is. I don't know what my niche is. That's how I felt in that moment. And it's like, I know they was encouraging entrepreneurship. And I'm like, well, what the heck can I do? So, I'm just so used to, going and working with the colleges and being about the trends of higher ed. So I was like, okay, what can I do to branch out? And I was, I have an English degree. So background is creative writing and literature. So it was like, I did always want to write a book. I'm like, what would I write about? Because I was like, I don't feel like my life is like so super duper exciting. But then I thought about it, like, what am I passionate about? Okay, I'm passionate about these young people. So passionate about the young people writing. How can you mentor? And I said, okay, I wish I can go back and talk to high school students and tell them some of the things that these college freshmen face, or at least talk to these parents and say, this is what you should be doing, but they get to that point, they don't know. So that's how this book kind of got into fruition. And I kind of dragged on it because the thought was in my head. I think I even told you about it back then. But I dragged on it, let life happen, and was writing, taking notes, doing this, and I was like, you know what, I really got to do this. So because there's a message to be, told. So that kind of motivated me to get the book together. It's like, what is the stuff that people really want to know? Because there's a lot of articles, there's other pamphlets and books, but I'm like, people just want the cut and dry. We're a busy society. You got parents that's working 12, 16-hour shifts or multiple jobs. You got students that's in a bunch of different activities and also probably caring for siblings, and they too might work. So I just wanted something that they can go to, that they can understand, that they can grab and go, come back, pick it up. So that was the motivation behind the book.
Okay, so let's go. Let's start. Chapter 1. I'm not gonna go through all the chapters, but there were a couple of chapters that stood out to me. And chapter 1, college preparation starts at birth. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that.
So how you set the tone for how a child will learn is gonna follow them up until college. So I have this thing that, reading, writing, math, those are life skills. They never go away. And when you think about placement tests for colleges, what is it? Reading, writing, math. So even then, and I know that there's talks to get rid of these tests and dissolve them, but how you learn and how that you function in those particular areas are actually were the same areas that you were being tested to get into college. Like I took my placement test in the reading and I struggled with math I knew, my parents knew math was not my thing, but reading was my thing. So they knew what to nurture and that carried on. So yeah, it really starts at birth because, how people say, let's say a student was A's and B's and they go off to college. It wasn't that the work got hard or they didn't understand it. It's just a little bit more freedom. So it's also about having that discipline to perform in college as well. So how you set the tone for how you learn, how you grow, and also encourage parents to be, co-educators. You don't have to, one may say, well, I don't have all these elaborate degrees to teach. Yes, but you can be an advocate for your child by, having a working partnership with your teacher. That's a lot of things. A lot of days, parents are fighting the teachers, and I think a lot of parents are growing more appreciative now for educators, being they had to help homeschool and do e-learning, so they really value the work of educators. But, having a collaborative working relationship with your educator, that really sets the tone on how they would perform in college.
So, okay, I like that. Now this chapter 2, I talk, I'm a big sports guy. I'm a sports guy, so I'm always talking. I see fourth quarter, and I don't want to read that. So talk about the fourth quarter, which is, of course, the senior year. So in a football game or a basketball game, the fourth quarter is crunch time. That's game time. Then that's when you need to put your seatbelt on and let's roll. So I'm assuming that chapter is that why you chose the fourth quarter as a title?
Right. It's like the final stretch. I won't get too much into the book, but it just walks you through what you should be doing throughout the months of your senior year, what steps you should be taking, whether that be ACT, SAT, finalizing college visits, still strengthening your grades and your sports involvements, how to handle prom and luncheon and all that great stuff. So that really is helping you navigate your actual senior year of high school.
So I always talk about it because I speak to college students, high school students, 8th grade students, and this is a big time. And so I'm not sure if your book talks about this, but I always talk about budgeting. Mm-hmm. So I'm always going to classrooms to adult classrooms, and we're always talking about budgets. And so I'm gonna give you, for example, I went to an 8th grade classroom last year, and they're spending $600-700 on 8th grade graduation. I mean, it's, so when it comes to budgeting, how are, and money, money's a big deal when you go to college. So is there a chapter that talks about, the budget aspect of it, financial aid? And I know you look at that a lot.
There's a chapter
with financial aid, or how is that going with you guys?
Well, there is a chapter in the book called Get Money, Scholarships, Grants, and those things called loans. So I do talk about, the different avenues to fund your education. I don't necessarily go into the like spending for prom per se, but one thing I do, and I'll share this story. I do, number one thing that parents are not asking these schools is, how much do I have to pay, or do I have to pay anything? They see the different scholarships, they see the grants, and they see that there's, money adding up, but they're not asking that $1 million question: do I owe anything? For example, if you have a school that costs $30,000 and you get a $10,000 scholarship, now is that $10,000 scholarship per semester or is it per year? Because if it's per year, that means you only get $5,000 a semester. And if the school is $30,000 per year, that's like $15,000 per semester. All you got was 5,000 knocked off. So what happened with the rest of the 10,000? And you may say, okay, I got loans, and they'll tack all that stuff on, and that'll be great, but you may still hold a balance. And that's what a lot of parents are not thinking about. What's that ending balance? Like my parents, they asked a question: do we owe anything? And I talk about that in the book. I think they only owed $1,700 at the time. That was $850 per semester. So my dad knew, there would be a balance, and he prepared him and my mom prepared accordingly. But a lot of families, they're not prepared for that balance, and then they get caught up. So you need to be more proactive and flat out asking the institution: do I owe any money? Do you see me paying any money out? And if that's a yes, are you prepared to pay the money? Because some people are not prepared for a $10,000 or $8,000. I mean, I have heard people complain about having $1,000 balance. So yeah, you need to ask those key questions about, can you contribute, and do you have to contribute?
So let's talk about those loans. Because I always hear people say, I have a lot of sports friends, and they always, the school will say, they'll say, I had a full ride. But a lot of times that full ride is only for tuition. It's for other things that may go along with it. So you say, so I have two questions about the loan part. So are parents signing for loans now, or are the students signing for loans? What do you see? And are more parents signing for the loans now opposed to one? Let me tell you, because my tuition was $3,600. And I know tuition is not $3,600 now. Okay, I know where I went to school is now tuition is like $42,000 a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 42, 45. And so what's the process? And I think I had one loan when I was there, but my parents helped me out a lot. But are the students signing for loans again, or are the parents?
Well, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a financial aid advisor.
Oh, okay.
That out there, but there is a difference between having a sub and an unsub loan, which comes through you filling out the FAFSA. Now, when you're saying parents are taking on loans, you're talking about the Parent Plus loan, in which the parent is responsible for paying that loan. And I believe, if I'm right, any financial aid counselors, I believe they have to start paying that back right away. I don't think it's a grace period, but that's different. That's the parents willing to step up and take a loan out. But the regular unsub and unsubsidized loans, those are coming through the FAFSA, the free application for federal financial aid.
Okay.
So that parent has to, be willing to sign that, and can they afford it? Because, they're adding on another bill. And if you listen to Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman, they tell you not to take a second loan out on your house for that college tuition. So a lot of the financial gurus do not recommend it, but the Parent Plus loan, that is a different. That's making the parents responsible to pay that loan back.
And that is a great. And I listen to both those people, and I use that advice when I'm talking to some of my clients about not parents not taking a loan on. But I've had some clients who have taken the loan on, but they have an agreement with their student with their child that I'm going to take this loan out, but you're gonna pay for it.
Right.
Because the one thing you don't want to take out a loan for is you have this loan, and now parents you may have an older parent. So the parent took out a loan for you, and they're actually still paying for that loan in their 60s.
Right.
Where is their money going? You don't want them having to pay. You don't want to have to pay student loans when you went to school when you were 18, 19, 20, 21, and you're still paying student loan payments in your 60s because you taken out the loan for that student. So I want to go to it. What is it? This is a big question. And I talk about, this is a big chapter for me. And that was the don't Buddha, the JUCO, community college. What did you mean by that? Because I have a lot of opinions about that, good and bad. But I'm gonna let you talk about the book though.
Well, I don't want to give too much of the book away because people are like, well,
no, I understand.
Anyway, no, but what I noticed is, we had these big elaborate farewell parties and congratulation parties, and it's very rare that I've seen people have like parties where they had community college you know what I'm saying? It was always the people going off to the 4-year, there's big trunk parties and all these parties, but you never see like the big excitement to go to the community college. It's like, oh, so-and-so going to the community college. Oh, okay, great. But I feel like, oh, such and such is going to NIU, Northern Illinois University. Yay, somebody's going to Clark Atlanta University. Yay, but it's like, oh, so-and-so is going over here. And, oh, okay, that's nice. Well, do you? I feel like there's no, excitement, but they should be excited. That person still is going to college. They're still, starting they're going a different route. So that's what I mean when I say don't boo, because you need to be just as excited of them going to city colleges or South Suburban or Moraine as the people over here who may be going to Tuskegee or Howard. That same energy needs to be there because this is a young person still taking a step to further their education. So that was kind of the gist of, when I say don't boo the community college, I mean, you be excited for them too. And then I talk about my brother and my cousin in that chapter. They said it was the best decision they made. They was glad they did not do the 4-year right away. They were happy to do that and then catapult into the 4-year because it saved money, it saved some time, and they felt, more ready academically to go to the 4-year when it was time. So
that's when that's what I was gonna say. I'm glad you touched on that because I think that sometimes the parents they push their kids into a 4-year university and they're not ready and then they fail. A lot of kids haven't been out of their parents' house at all, or have their parents wake them up in the morning because you can go to a junior college, away to a junior college. You don't have to go to the city college. You could go to that. Like I'm sure, like U of I, they have all the major schools have junior colleges that are right there. A lot of times,
right? Because even when I went to Western Illinois University, Spoon River Community College was the community college. So you had students who were living in the halls at Western, but going to Spoon River College and taking courses and then transferring back to Western Illinois. So those are, some universities, they are feeder school. A lot of them are feeder schools for 4 years, and some of them do have partnerships where they can let the student either stay on campus or use some of the facilities. I think College of the Page, correct me if I'm wrong, at one time had a partnership with Benedictine University. So 4 years, they do a lot of partnerships with community colleges on certain aspects.
Okay. So getting money, scholarships, and grants, talk about that. I know you're not going to go into the whole thing because I know you don't want to tell the book, but just give me some nuggets from that, because I know a lot of parents want to know that that's a big thing.
So here's the thing. So we do this big push for, high school juniors, high school seniors to, go after scholarships. But something magically happens once they get to college. They think you just stop applying and searching for scholarships. Like, that's it. No, you need to continue to search for scholarships. A lot of universities, they have their departmental scholarships. And then you can reapply for some of the scholarships you have earned previously if they're, not allowing you to renew those scholarships. And I even ask students who I talk to, say they, struggling to find money, are you applying for scholarships? They look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, what do you mean? There's a lot of scholarships out here. Ed, you're a Kappa, I'm an AKA. A lot of the Greeks have scholarships, especially for students who are currently enrolled. Not just, a lot of scholarships are not just for freshmen. They have currently enrolled scholarships. I encourage students, once you get on campus, take involved in leadership opportunities, because let's say you become a resident assistant, an RA, that helps with your room and board. So that helps defray the cost. You will have to have, responsibilities of running a floor, doing programs, being on duty, making sure that, helping to make sure the halls are safe and sound, but it's a way to defer the cost. A lot of institutions, if you become the student government president or vice president, they have tuition incentives that help cut the cost of your tuition there. Or if you are a student board of trustees, they usually get like a tuition, discount or even free tuition for serving. So once you get to college, don't stop looking for opportunities to help defer your costs. So I do talk about that in the chapter that, is it work? Yes, it's a lot of work, but when knowing that you have, not having to worry about finances for you or your parents. I mean, it makes a big difference when you can just go to school, know everything's set and ready, you can just be a student. So whatever can help you. And then as I tell students, some students say, well, I got scholarships, I got this. Okay, so guess what? If you get some more and your bills paid, guess where the money goes? Back to you in your pocket. So you can, that's, if they, a lot of universities and colleges, if they see that you have, your balance paid in full and you keep getting scholarships, they go money that can come back to your pocket. So, don't stop the process just because you got there. You got to college. Don't keep the party moving, as they say, with those scholarships and, other financial opportunities. Because a lot of scholarships, I hear a lot of people that serve in various organizations that say, we went this year without a recipient because nobody applied, or, we're not getting a lot of applicants. We were, this person got it because they was the sole applicant, so there's a lot of scholarships that go unawarded each year because students are not applying.
Well, and if you think about it, a lot of people come in that first year, their freshman year, okay? Then they get to their sophomore, junior year, and that's when the real work happens. That's when the parents kind of start letting go, and they're like, you're an adult now. You need to start kind of doing some of these things on their own. But that's a problem, because what happens is you have the juniors and seniors who've done well, maybe the freshman, sophomore year, like you said, and then they don't have money and they don't know where to go look to find extra money. So what do you think about, I'm gonna use your school example, when they get to that junior, senior year and they decide to drop out because they don't have the money to go to school, because they can on their own when they get older.
You're saying why do they drop out?
Yeah, drop out the junior, senior year.
So here's the thing. That's another thing. You need to kind of be on the route of knowing what you want to do, and that's when grades come into play. When you're failing a bunch of classes, not picking a major, dragging the process along, there are such things, some students running out of money. So that has happened. They had too many amount of credit, financial aid, you need to know your loan limits and you need to know the credit limits. So that way you can't drag this process out. So a lot of people, they get to their junior year, they get to their senior year, and they ran out of money, or, they don't have enough to finish. It's because they kind of slow drag the process. So, you want to come out the gate being academically sound, so you don't have to go back and retake, a bunch of classes, because the federal government, they got a rule now. They don't want to pay for a student taking a class for a third time. So a lot of schools have processes where you have to appeal to get approved to take a class for a third time, because the federal government and they're cracking down. So it's like, you may hear terms called satisfactory progress. GPAs have a real bearing on, being able to get financial aid and being eligible for financial aid. So, if you find yourself at that junior, senior year, you did something totally wrong, on prior years that you're running out of money. If you are on track academically and you're meeting, and that's another thing, I know there's a lot of students do not know who their financial aid counselor is because they have always let their parents do it. And to the parents, I say, involve your student in the process. So if something happened to you or you lose your job or, some students like, well, I don't know what my parents did. They always did it. So let your student in on the process so they can know who's a financial aid counselor, how you've been going about paying or making arrangements. Let them know about that because you have a lot of students, they fall short because they didn't know, oh, my mom and dad always did it. But, you want to also learn some interdependence in this process. I told everybody, I think my parents I started filling out my financial aid papers probably by sophomore year. My parents, I would call my mom like, okay, how much you made? How much daddy made? Okay, I'm filling it out. I think this is your signature and I submit it. But we didn't have time. My parents was 3.5, 4 hours away. So it was just like, I would call and I would work through the application with them. I was doing it on my own because you got to grow up. You got to be, an adult. And I know there's a lot of things, a lot of parents, they hand holding their kids all the way to senior year. And I'm looking at them like, well, how the heck they going to get a job? You can't come in and interview with them. When they go to do their business presentation for the company, you can't be in the room with them. So you got to start teaching a little independence early. I would say as early as freshman year. So, that way when they get to senior year, they know how stuff is run. They know how to take care of business. They know how to handle things because we call it the term is called helicopter parent. That's going to hurt them going into adulthood.
Well, I'm going to tell you my story. Okay, I always tell people this story. It's funny to some people, but it wasn't funny to me. Okay. I went to Tuskegee, got a little, part band and scholarship, and then my parents paid the rest. So they told me going in, you got 4 years. Put the four up. And that fourth year came, and I didn't have enough. I was 9 credits short. Came home for the summertime. My parents didn't say a word. They just, I had a job every summer, every Christmas. Summer came, that senior year, I didn't graduate, summertime. I got my job, I'm spending money. I went down that fall semester, and my mother asked me the whole time, about school and what am I doing in the fall. And I'm thinking, yeah, you've been paying it this long, you're going to pay it for that 4.5 year. No, I get down to school, and I'm using that envelope being there when I got there. Get there, go in the mailbox, no money. I call on the phone. I call my father. He says, "Hey, how's it going?" I said, I didn't get anything in the mailbox." He's like, "Oh, well, hold on, let me talk to your mother." Oh my God. Why did he say that? I knew this wasn't gonna be good. He didn't want to tell me. My mother was like, "Remember when we told you 4 years and your sister was coming behind you? We meant 4 years. So we love you." Now, I had never filled out a financial aid thing in my life, so I had to figure it out. That was my awakening to adulthood. I had to go to school. Only had 9 hours to get to school. I was in a band. I had to get financial aid, and I ended up working at Subway. So that was like the hardest semester of my life. So kind of going back to what you said, everybody needs to be in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Be in the process the whole way. You can handhold them, but I think you should do it together.
Mm-hmm.
Sit down at the table and together. Because a lot of parents write for scholarship. Some of the parents write the letters. They don't write the essays. Mm-hmm. So I think if the parent, if you go on this long and help them. I think kind of keep helping them, but not do it.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
The help and doing is two different things. So I think that, and those same habits kind of go into adulthood as well.
And then, things have changed since you've been in school, since I've been in school. I mean, now everything is so electronic, and, FAFSA tends to, preserve your information. And now it's really just logging back in with your pen and did this change? Yes. Did you? I was in school, we were still doing paper. So, I would be on the phone with my mom, like, Mom, okay, I'm filling the paper out now and, submit it. But, now it's got better because you can do this electronically. A lot of this stuff is saved and it's just going back, updating and making changes. So the process is not even as hard as it was back when you and I was, in school.
So what about this chapter 8? And then I'm going to, because I got 21 questions and so shall you.
So that chapter, I just picked 21 questions I think every parent and the student should be asking. One other question is, we always talk about the campus community and how we get involved, but it's the outskirts, it's the town student friendly. Can the student go off campus and, go to the local Target or Walmart or dine in a restaurant? Can they feel safe, or do they feel like they're going to be, threatened or anything? So asking questions, is the surrounding community, student friendly? Is it, what's another question? I'm trying to think of. One of the questions is, cultural diversity. If you're not going to, for African American students, if they're going to a PWI, which is predominantly white institution, how culturally diverse is the campus? And when you say culturally diverse, not just the student body, I mean, do they see faculty and staff that looks like them? So it's just a list of 21 questions everybody should ask, how to get home. What's the, if students want to travel home from campus, what's transportation resources are offered to them? Things, just things like that. Can they get jobs on campus? How is the student employment rate for students? Is it for them to get a work study job? So it's just 21 questions that, parents should be asking.
So we're gonna wrap this up, Lisa. So I want to know, because I got a couple of questions on here. They're saying, where can they find this book? Where is it being sold? I mean, how do people find this book?
Okay, so I'm actually launching a book next week. I'll be on my page, Lisa Lyons, on Facebook Live. I'm doing a virtual launch. I am doing pre-orders, so you can email me, and Ed probably can post this up at lisalyons80@gmail.com. I'm taking pre-orders. So you can email me, put your pre-order in. Also, the book will be available on Amazon, but what I'm telling people, if you get it from me, you're going to have a nice little autograph in there. You get it, Amazon's no autograph. So I'm going to give my little personal touch to it. So email right now, I'm still working and building on a website. I'm an up and coming author. So still things I got to work on to progress. But this is definitely the start. This is not the end all be all, because I got 2 more books in me. So, because I said this gets you to college, and I got to write another book that will get you through college. And I think that's going to be real hot and juicy, because it's going to talk about little things that you encounter while you're in college. And then also, I think there needs to be a focus on after college, because a lot of, students graduated, got these nice degrees, and, the job market is this, or the real world is not what we thought. And sometimes they don't teach you real life, real world, things while you're in college. So, that's also, in the future. So something that we probably need to focus and talk about more.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me, Lisa. Joining Ed Talk, where we talk about all things financial. I mean, all things. Last week we had the stock up kids. Okay, mm-hmm. We talk about. I try to bring on the show different aspects of it. So I am a financial advisor and insurance agent. Oh, I want to publicly thank Lisa Lyons for all the referrals that she sends to me. Thank you very much. So, but yeah, so like I said, we here at Ed Talk always want to bring bring new and different things on the show. And thank you, Lisa. So thank you. And please support her book. I mean, it's a good book. And it's coming directly from somebody who's been doing this for several years. Okay. So I'm sure in her email, she might have some additional questions that you might have some
Yeah,
additional
feel
questions
free to ask me
after you
questions.
read the books. After you read books, actually read her book. I'm sure I'm sure she'll be able to answer some of the questions that you guys have through her email. And
And
that's
then also, if you let me say this, I know we're in the midst of the pandemic, the COVID-19. What's important now, I know everybody is still moving, you know, students have selected colleges. I will encourage all students and family, please stay in contact with your school of choice, find out what they are doing in terms of moving forward, because I know colleges and universities are being told, be prepared to go either way. When they say either way, in a more perfect world, yes, you'll be in campus and you'll be in classes, but be prepared if you got to go remote. So I will say, please follow your institutions. They have websites, they have presidents and chancellors and leaders that's updating the campus community daily about where they're at with CDC regulations and guidelines. So be in the know for that. Like I said earlier, a lot of institutions are doing virtual orientations. Still sign up for those, still get involved with those, because you're going to get the same information, be able to register. It's just going to be done virtually. So yeah, just stay in the know so you can know how to prepare. Because Ed, I think that's going to change. You know, if fall open up and it's remote learning, that's going to change up maybe some people's decisions about moving forward, or how they're going to move forward, or do they take a gap year? You know, which they take a year off, then go off to college. So I think, you know, the status of the COVID is definitely gonna cause for some conversations moving forward and some decision making.
Before you go, I'm gonna ask you this. What do you think about that? You brought up a question. What about that gap year? Because I've heard that in the last maybe 5 to 7 years. And what do you think about your opinion? This is your opinion. I'm just asking you. What do you think about the gap year?
I think it takes a special person to do a gap year, because I think students look at a gap year as I can just go and do nothing. But a gap year is really stuff for you to have some experience, work, and have some experience, whether it be a, you know, internship, paid or unpaid, or maybe like a study abroad experience or a Peace Corps experience. That's the gist of having a gap year, just taking off time to, you know, gain some more skills, mature. And I talk about that in the book, because I believe one of the most successful gap years, we would say, is Malia Obama. She had a pretty robust and productive gap year, which that was the year that President Obama was in his last term. So she did a bunch of study abroad opportunities. She did internships. She learned languages. So I think when they're saying gap year, that's really time off just to develop some skills, not taking a year off and just going to work somewhere and, you know, you'll go to school later, but really trying to get honing some skills and experiences prior to going to college. So yeah, it has become more popular within the past few years about people pursuing gap years.
Okay. All right. So I'm taking up all my time today, but no, I know we could talk about this I know you could, you know, for a couple hours, but I only have like 60 minutes. So.
But you know, as I said, definitely email me. I'm definitely open to having, you know, phone conversations or Zooms or phone calls. I mean, emails, conversations. So yeah, I mean, you won't accomplish everything you need, you know. I didn't expect us to answer everybody's question within this time frame.
So you can go to lisalions80@gmail.com. Is that right? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
I put it in the feed. Also, when it goes on Amazon next week, you can look up The Real Deal on Amazon. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
The Real Deal on Amazon by Lisa Lyons. Thank you, and I'll see you at our next session. And I always end my calls with everybody puts out the peace sign. Peace.
Peace.
See you, Lisa.
See you, Ed.
Bye.